has music ever changed your life? Because there are people out there that feel music has no effect on you or just negatively impacts your life. But I'm here to tell you that's not true. Because music can help you learn, get better grades, and even save your life. So let's talk about learning in music. Because in this book, A Well-Tempered Mind by Peter Perrett and Janet Fox, this is what happens. Peter Perrett started a music program in North Carolina for elementary kids, for first graders through third graders. And the music program was to help these kids get better grades, be interested in what they were being taught, and be more focused. He talked about the results, and he said before the music program, no more than 30% of these kids were passing reading, writing, and simple math. But after this music program, 85% to 95% of these kids were passing these classes. It was shocking to Peter Perrett. It was incredible results because he didn't know that music has such an impact on these kids. But that's the thing. Music doesn't just have an impact on kids. It can also have an impact on high schoolers. And this is my high school, Harry S. Truman in Baychester, New York. And for my senior year in my yearbook, I won most artistic. Now I felt that's wrong. This is for people who draw and for people who paint, not for people who rap. And my friend came up to me and said, "You're wrong." And do you know why? Because you helped me graduate. I stood there in shock and awe, and I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Listening to your voice, listening to that emotion that you put into that music, listening to your confidence, I learned something. I didn't want to flunk out. I wanted to be like you, full of confidence, learning new things, building myself." So he changed his ways. He said, "I hit the books. I started to study. I took up my makeup exams, and I was able to graduate with you today." I started to cry because I didn't know my music had such an impact on people, let alone my friends. But that just goes to show how impactful and how helpful music can help you learn. But music is like a double-edged sword because music can help you, but it can also hurt you. Now let's talk about one genre of music that I feel and many others feel is the most impactful music out there, and that is hip-hop, my favorite music. And one artist that comes to mind for negativity is Tekashi 6ix9ine. We know who that is. He recently got out of jail. But why did he go to jail in the first place? It was because of songs like Gummo, and these are some of his lyrics. Tekashi 6ix9ine glorifies gun violence, gang affiliation, violence, sexual conduct, drug abuse, and so much more in his music. And people are infatuated by it. People love it. To the point they start changing. People start getting more violent. They start carrying guns, joining gangs, doing drugs, so much. But that goes to show music doesn't just impact the youth, it also impacts the artists because the judges saw these lyrics as evidence, and 6ix9ine went to jail because of his lyrics, because of his music. But music doesn't just impact you like this, it can also impact your mental state. It can also send you back to addiction. Yes, it can. In this book, Music Therapy and Addictions by David Aldridge and George Faulkner, they touch upon this and they say music can be therapy to many, but it can make them relapse because after they get off an addiction, hearing a certain type of music that triggers bad memories, triggers bad emotions, it can send them right back to the needle. It can send them right back to that pill popping. It can send them right back to square one. But George Faulkner doesn't just talk about the negative impact that music has. He also talks about no effect at all. And he said in one experiment with a client that he nicknamed the Traveler, this is what happened. MOIs are moments of interest and MONIs are moments of no interest. And when George Faulkner played music for this Traveler, he felt nothing from when it started to when it ended. But why? He just didn't feel emotionally connected. He felt nothing for it. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can use music just to tune people out. But for the artists themselves, they feel that's a negative impact because they put in their emotion. They put in that raw talent of theirs to give people a relatability, to give people that emotional connection, but people don't feel it. But here's the thing, these artists, they are able to help people. They are able to save them. And one way people can get saved by music is addiction. Yes, music can send you to addiction, but music can help you get out of addiction. Because George Faulkner talks about this again. Reduction of anxiety in the frontal midline theaters, aka FMTs. And FMTs are rhythmic waves that are induced by mental tasks. And it is also the baseline of anxiety. And George Faulkner says when people are listening to music in his certain experiments, their anxiety, their depression started to go down. And they started to have beautiful imagery. They started to have visuals. They started to rethink their life. They started to have beautiful memories of their childhood. They started to feel better. They started to feel saved. But here's the thing. Music doesn't just help your mental state. It can also help you in a crisis. And this is War Child, a program that helps kids in different countries who are neglected because of wars that are going on. Ben Knowles talks about this in one of his articles, and he says 8,300 innocent children are given the protection, care, and education they need to survive and recover from this war. But how? Because of music. They put on music concerts, they made musical albums, and they made all of that money and gave it back to these kids so that they had a chance to live. They had a chance to give a purpose in life. And they didn't become innocent casualties in a forgotten war. But it didn't just help these kids. No, music doesn't just help these kids. It also helps artists themselves, like Futuristic, an artist I truly love. And this is his album, The Rise. And in the last song, it is titled Music Saved My Life. And in the song, Futuristic goes through what happened to him one day. He almost committed suicide. Because he was going through depression, his grandmother died. He was going through relationship struggles. He wasn't making it as an artist. He was broken. So he went to a bridge with a loaded gun and a letter to his mother that said, "I'm sorry for committing suicide, mother. I'm sorry for everything." But just when he was about to pull the trigger, lyrics popped into my head. Maybe music saved my life. When those lyrics popped into his head, and he doesn't disclose the song or the lyrics that popped into his head, but when he said one day went into his head, he couldn't pull the trigger because he had a mission. He has something to do on this earth. And just like the music that saved his life, he has music to save other people's lives. And that just goes to show how powerful music can be, how impactful music can become for people. Yes, music has its negative effects, not just on the public, but on the artists themselves. Yes, music can have no effect on you, but music can help you learn, get better grades, become a better person, and save your life, not just from suicide, but from your mental health state, and even kids that are in crisis. And so, I ask you again, has music ever changed your life?